Hello guys, welcome to AWS Tutorials. In AWS Tutorials, we provide workshops and exercises to learn about AWS services. And today I'm going to present the part 2 of the series we have started. So we are talking about AWS AI services in a series of tutorials. And today we are going to talk about using Amazon Lex as an AI service to build a chat bot. So just to give you some background about different AI services we have as a part of Amazon Web Services portfolio. So there are a number of services available for the areas like vision or speech or languages or even for recommendation and forecasting. These AI services are available as APIs, which any programmer can use the language of their preference to call it. So for instance, there are services like recognitions, which can actually analyze your videos and also the pictures. There's service like TextRect, which can do the analysis of the scanned documents. Similarly, we have speech services which can convert your voice into text or text into voice. There are translation services available. There are services which can actually comprehend your text, which can do sentiment analysis on your text. And similarly, Lex is also a service which can be used to build chatbot kind of applications. Now, for these services, you don't need to create any kind of training of the data models or any kind of testing of the data models. These services are trained by AWS and they are exposed as APIs, which any programmer can call through the language of their choice. So today we are going to talk about a particular service. So in part one, we talked about certain services. Part two, we are going to talk about Amazon Lex. In very simple terms, guys, Amazon Lex is a service which can be used to build chatbots kind of applications. And you can build application both for text-based chatbots or voice-based chatbots. Both kind of chatbots can be built. And today in this workshop, we are going to use the text-based chatbot, but trust me, with a small modification, you can convert that into a voice-based chatbot as well. So let's understand some of the key building blocks of this chatbot so that when you do the workshop and exercise with that, you were able to relate what we are doing there. So in order to build a chatbot, there are certain building blocks which are involved. And when I tell about it here, it might not make much sense. But when you go and see that, when you do that yourself in the workshop, then it will, you can perfectly relate to what we are talking here. So when you start building a chatbot, you first create intent. And intent in a chatbot is a building block which says, which serves a particular purpose. So suppose you are building a chatbot where people can ask about various types of animals inside inside the zoo. Okay, so suppose you want to talk about carnivorous animals, questions related to carnivorous animals, questions related to water-based animals, questions related to birds, questions related to reptiles, questions related to amphibious animals. What you can do that if you want, you can create different intents for these different types of areas where people might want to ask questions. So one intent serves a particular type of conversation inside chatbot. Now, how does the chat? So one chatbot can have multiple intent. That means it can serve multiple types of conversations or communication. So how do the chatbot know that which intent to start? So for instance, when you say, oh, how do the birds fly? Then obviously the intent is that you want to know about birds. And you say, okay, how do fish breathe inside water? then of course you're interested in water-based animal. So how does chatbot know that you are interested in particular type of intent? And that is what is resolved by utterances. So for each of this intent, you create utterances. Utterances are examples like how do the birds fly? What is the age of an average bird? How do water-based animals breathe? Do they egg or give birth to kids? Things like that. So you can create intents like that, so utterances like that, and these utterances or what people are speaking or what people are chatting or decide which intent to invoke. So think in this in a simple ways that when you are dealing with chatbot, you type something or you say something as an utterance, and that decides which of the intent is going to serve you at that point of time. And again, I told you, once you work through it, you will realize what exactly I'm talking about. So once a particular intent is picked, then the intent has its own flow to solve, to provide you the service. For instance, you picked a particular intent, then your slots will start coming back to you. Now, slots are the various conversational questions the intent will ask you back. Suppose your utterance was that I want to know about a bird. So um, slot might ask is that are you looking for a pet bird? Are you looking for or a wild bird? You might say you might reply back saying wild bird. Then it might say, okay, are you looking for a bird in a specific region? You can say, okay, African birds. Then it can ask some more questions. So slots are when how actually chatbots send you back certain response and then or start conversation with you. So they ask you questions, you reply back, and based on reply, they can ask more questions, and then you reply back. So it kind of creates conversation with you. And when it creates conversation with you, it uses slots to also capture your input because your inputs are important to decide how you will be served back. And finally, once slots have completed the conversation, then it goes to the fulfillment. And the fulfillment actually you pass on your slot information. The slots are again the information you have provided, which either through your voice or through your typing. That information is then passed to the fulfillment, and then fulfillment will simply make use of that information to fulfill your requirement, whether it's replying back with the right kind of content or information about the right kind of bird or anything else. And in fulfillment, actually, you can go and configure Lambda function, which can where you can go and build your business logic that if this is the input the customer has provided, this is the response I'm going to give back to the customer. So that kind of business logic you can also create inside Lambda function and configure in fulfillment. So this kind of slots and fulfillment, then you configure for all the intents. And once you have done that, then yeah, your chatbot is ready. You can start communication with chatbot. Chatbot, based on your utterances, will pick up the right kind of intent, and then intent will take over. Then we start using the slots to have a conversation with you, capture your inputs, and based on the captured inputs, then it uses fulfillment to serve you back with the final result. So again, I told you that it might look a little confusing when I speak about it, but once you do this workshop and you implement this exercise end to end, you will find it's pretty interesting and easy to do. So what are we building today? So what I'm building today is that we have a Lambda function which simply takes a couple of inputs like two numbers and an operator, and based on that, it does some mathematical operation. So we will create a chat bot which will speak with you, which will have like chat exchange with you to ask you questions about, oh, okay, tell me the first number, tell me the second number, or what do you want to add, subtract, divide, kind of thing. and you provide those information to chatbot, and then the fulfillment is done by the Lambda function. And then you will also build a chat client. So you have built a chatbot. Now, how do I use the chatbot? So we'll also build a chat client, and that chat client will build using a Python code inside Cloud9. So that's what we are going to do today. So for that, we have a workshop created and published to our aws-dojo.com website, where you can simply follow the instructions line by line to complete this scenario end to end. The URL of the workshop is also provided in the description box below, and you can click on that to follow the instructions. But let me show you how what you have to do to complete this workshop. So here is this workshop, and this is scenario you're going to build. So first, what you do is that you click on start the workshop, and when you start the workshop, it takes certain instructions to complete the workshop. There are total 6 steps to complete the workshop. The very first step is the prerequisite, which is all asking about, hey, you should have an AWS account. And if not, then you can use this link to create an AWS account. Then we go and create a Lambda function. And again, in this chatbot, the fulfillment is done by the Lambda function. We go and create a very simple Lambda function using Python. And then in this Lambda function, let me show you the code of the Lambda function. This Lambda function is pretty straightforward. So it says that, okay, these are slots is capturing. So remember the slots, people provide input. So it creates conversation and people provide input. So people are providing input as they are like first numeric value, second numeric value, what operation they want to perform. And depending on what operation they want to perform, we are simply performing that operation, and then we are giving that result back over here. You can see that. So again, when you see this in action, you will realize more, but in very simple terms, it is using chatbot slots to capture 2 numbers from the users and what operation the user wants to perform. It's kind of simple calculator we're building here. And then based on the operation the customer has asked for, it is performing that operation and passing back to the customer. This is what it is doing, this Lambda function. So it has some special construct because it's using Lex API using Lex API to respond back. And in fact, not exactly Lex API, but using Lex event model to pass in the input value and the response back into certain format. So we create this Lambda function and you deploy it. Once a Lambda function is deployed, we can start creating the chatbot. Okay, so we can go to the next step, which is, I'm not sure why my click is not working here. Okay. 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 I'm not sure why it didn't work. Let me click again. Happening first time. So configure the chatbot. Okay, let's go to the chatbot here. And we get started with the Lex chatbot, and after that, you say there are some sample chatbots available, but we are going to create a custom chatbot here. So you click on the custom chatbot, then you give a nice name to chatbot, say calculator chatbot, and you provide some session timeout, some roles configuration over here. And once you have done that, you create the intent. Remember, you have to create it. Let me close this tab here. Hopefully you don't need it. So we create the intent over here. And then when you, you can create multiple intents, but in this case, we create one intent. We are saying this is calculator intent. Then it is asking for various utterances. So how can I invoke this intent? So for instance, I've given here an example that if the person types or says calculator, or I want to calculate or start calculator, if the user is typing like that or saying like that, then this particular intent should start. Okay, so we are simply starting the intent, and then we start configuring the slots. So here we are configure 3 slots. So when the intent is picked up, it starts the conversation. The first question it's going to ask is tell me the first number, and the user will provide the first number, which is then captured in the slot data 1. And if you look at the code, we were trying to pick the data 1 slot in the code. Okay, So if you go and see the code, you can really see how the slots are being used there to parse the user input out. Then after capturing the first number, it asks question again, tell me the second number, and then you capture that into data 2. Then tell me what operation you want to perform, and then you capture into op slots. So 3 slots, and these 3 questions are sent to the are presented to the user, and their responses are captured into these 3 slots. So once we have done that, then you can ask for confirmation that, hey, do you want to opt this data 1 and this is a typo here, there should not be an add here actually. So do you want to opt data 1 and data 2? And he can say yes. If yes, then you move forward. If no, then you simply say, okay, thanks for using the calculator. Bye-bye. Okay, and then we come to the fulfillment part where we are going to use these user inputs to make something. And that function you already created as a Lambda function in the earlier step. You're simply configuring that Lambda function over here to say that, okay, use these slot values. This is the Lambda function which is going to actually use this information to do the calculation and present back. And that code you have already seen. Then you save the intent, and once you have saved the intent, you can of course go and create more than one intent, but in this case we want to keep it very simple, one intent only. Then we simply go and build this chatbot, and once you have built a chatbot, you might want to test the chatbot before you start writing clients for that to see if it is working or not. And let's come with a test chatbot function where you can go and test the chatbot. So you start that. And you can see that when you start the chatbot, yeah, it is asking that. So you say, I want to calculate. That was the first utterance you used, and that picked up the intent. The intent asked back, tell me the first number. You gave the first number. They tell me the second number. You gave the second number. What operation you want to perform? You give the operation here and say, okay. It asks, do you want to add 5 and 5? And I say, add is a typo here. It should not be there. It should be, do you want to plus 5 and 5? You say yes, and it then at that point of time it called the Lambda function, passing all these 3 inputs. Lambda function did the calculation, came back with the result, and say, hey, your result is 10. Okay, simple. So looks like our test is successful. So we can simply go and publish, and when you publish, then you give an alias name, which is then used by the client to call the chatbot. So our chatbot is ready. Now we can build a client. In order to build a client, first you set up the development environment. For development environment, we have used Cloud9. So what you are doing over here is simply starting a Cloud9 environment, and then in that Cloud9 environment, we are deploying Python Boto 3 so that we can use Python Boto 3 SDK to create a chatbot client. But again, you can build client in the language you want. I'm using Python over here in this example. So once we have deployed Python Boto 3, then we can start creating the chat client. So here is, we created a file called chat client, and this is the code of chat client. And it's pretty straightforward. So the code says that you have to give a unique username because the chatbot creates session with the user. Okay, so it creates a stateful connection, and the stateful connection is identify this username. So the username has to be like fixed. So each user will have their own username, like a typical chatbot, right? Chat system. Then this is the bot name, which was calculator bot, and this is the alias which we created at time of the publishing. And then we are saying, okay, fine. Let's start with the utterance. Let's capture the utterance first. So what do you want to do? And here we'll say, I want to calculate, or I start calculator. And then you simply use this post text method to pass the information. So you simply say, this is the bot, this is the alias, this is the user, and this is my input. So first you pass the utterance, and then what will happen? It goes through a loop till it is fulfilled. And based on this, the whole slot-based communication will start, and you start, and you keep replying. And you keep replying till you get a final result. When you get a final result, you say, oh yeah, okay, job is done. Now I can come out and close the session. So pretty simple and straightforward code, guys. Now we run this code, and when you run this code, actually, so you save it, and then you run it. when you run this code, it will do the same way you saw in the test bot. So here is asking you, what do you want to do? I say I want to use, say in this case I said calculator. So tell me the first number, tell me the second number, what is your operation? Again, plus is my favorite operation. I did that, and then yeah, you know what? I got the result back. So same way, yeah. So this was example how you can build a very smart client. I mean, this is like a simple client using Python, but you can really build a UI based client to build this kind of conversation with your chatbot. So that was all for this workshop. And last step is to clean up your resources so that you don't incur any cost post this workshop. Okay, so this was pretty much it. There are many other. Hope you like it, guys. And there are many other similar workshops and exercises which we provide as a part of AWS-Dozo, where you can use these exercises and workshops to learn about AWS services. If you like if you like this workshop, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to our channel. And if you have any feedback for improvement, or if you want to request for any new content, either you can write us on our YouTube channel, or you can click on this contact us button and can provide feedback here as well. Okay, hope you like this video. That's all for today. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye-bye.